Hey everyone, welcome back to the Shane Shed YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be doing a bit of a service on this 2017 Hyundai Accent. It's just a friend's car, so we'll just doing her a favour. It's been a little bit neglected, so let's get into it. Alright, so first things first, I'm going to jump under and I'm going to dump the oil, take out the oil filter. Logan's here saying hello. So straight on the front of the car is we find our sump plug just here. So it's at the front of the engine, which is probably a bit of a pain if you're doing stuff on ramps because you'll have a bit of oil sitting down the back, but it is what it is. And engine oil filter is just up under here. So there you go, a bit more light. So there's the filter there. It's a Z79A.
Hey, your hand is in the way. I can't see.
Yeah, that's the only trouble. I do need a better filter wrench than this one, I think, loads.
I might buy a new one. Oh man.
Let's see if I can. Oh, I can do it by hand anyway. That's alright.
Yeah. Wait, what filter? Oh! Look guys, there's more. Wait, is that the same thing?
What do you mean?
The same thing that we just saw.
As what?
As that came out of another bit. I'm not sure.
No, that was the sump, Logan. This is just a little bit that come out from the filter.
Yeah, but, oh.
Yeah, like I said earlier, you can probably see on that angle, that sump plug, oh that sump pan is not really at the ideal angle if you're going to be putting your car up on ramps. Yeah, it's obviously because there's plugs at the front. I don't know what Hyundai were thinking there. You know, most sump plugs that you see around are at the back end of the sump, which makes putting these things up on ramps really easy. But I guess it doesn't really matter if you're working off a hoist or whatnot. But you know, not everyone has that privilege. Or that luxury, should I say, not that privilege. Now I'll just give the mounting face where the filter sits a little bit of a clean. Just to get rid of any dirt, whatnot. And a new filter. Well, so the filter goes in up this way, so I always like to give it a prime with some engine oil first before it goes in. So it's just a matter of filling it up. Let it soak in a bit. And just grab a bit of that oil, rub it on the seal just to lubricate that so it doesn't bind and damage it. Doesn't matter if you spill too much of it anyway. I'm using Penrite oil, obviously being in Australia. It's an Australian made oil. Basically just blended here really. But reasonable quality, so yeah, can't complain. Spin on filters, really quite easy. There's nothing too hard about them. Just make sure when they contact, you give them about a 3/4 of a turn minimum, just to seat them in. Don't want to over tighten them. I just do them by hand, only ever by hand. Don't need to. You definitely don't need to be wrenching on them with filter wrenches or anything like that. It's just overkill, and it'll just make it difficult for when you need to pull it off next time. Now I forget the amount, but it's less than 4 litres in these, so there's not much oil. So yeah, this is basically all there is to servicing on these. I just spend a bit of time while you got it jacked up, have a look under them, make sure there's no oil leaks, check your CV boots, make sure there's no splits or anything unusual going on there. Make sure your funnel doesn't move on you. Where was I? Yeah, jump under, have a look, make sure there's no, while you got it jacked up, check all the suspension arms, make sure there's no play in those. This one's all pretty good. So overall, I'd be pretty confident in this is going to run perfectly fine. All things considering, you know, I definitely wouldn't recommend leaving services this long. Certainly not if you want to look after your car a bit. But you know, there's lots of people out there that this is how they run, you know, for various reasons, time, money, whatever. Which is why I kind of recommend servicing your own vehicle, you know, because it costs a hell of a lot less, and yeah, there's a bit of pleasure in doing it, I guess. Well, I find pleasure in doing it. Not everyone will. So air cleaner is just here, so just a couple of clips either side, no problem, and it just lifts straight up. So I'm going to throw a new one of these in, and this one doesn't look too bad. It's not too bad considering this car, well, it's been a 2017, it's done 66,000 Ks. I should clean some of those leaves and stuff out of this. Yeah, she's done 66,000 Ks. This is only the second time it's ever had a service, so...
That's where you find the leaves.
Yeah, okay, Logan. So, like I said earlier, it has been a bit neglected, this. So, the owner took this to a dealer, and they basically refused to service it and wanted to flush all the oil because the engine was sludgy, which I've had a look, it's not, surprisingly. Alright. So this cover just lifts straight up. So yeah, like I said, this hasn't had much in the way of servicing, so I'm just going to check the all the spark plugs, make sure they're still alright. So we'll pop these coils out and we'll pull the spark plugs out, check them out. So the coil plugs, so it's just this little tab on here, just lift that up and then we can push it in. So it's like a locking mechanism. And I might just pop this breather hose out of the way just to make things a little easier for myself. There's bolts to hold the coils in, just a 10mm. A single bolt to hold those in. And also pull that plug out of the way, because that'll make number 4 a bit easier to get out. Maybe. So that's really going to be the world's dumbest design if that didn't come out easily. Just going to throw all these spark plugs back in. They're okay. They're showing a little bit of signs of corona on the insulation, so we'll replace those next service. Alright, speaking of next service, we'll probably try and get this one done a lot sooner. You know, like I said, it's 66,000 Ks and this is its second service in its life, so you know, not ideal. I've taken a sample of the engine oil, so it'd be interesting to see what that throws up. It definitely won't be pretty. I mean, this is not ideal, but you know, not everyone looks after their cars the same way. You know, the owner of this car took it to a dealer and they basically refused to service it and wanted to do engine flushes and all sorts of stuff. Wanted to charge, nearly $2,000 for the by privilege of doing it. So I think they were just being arseholes, to be honest, and we're just trying to drill up some more money. Having looked, like they were claiming that the engine was sludgy and all sorts of stuff. I've had a look. That's fine. I've seen far worse than this one, to be honest. Like, this is not too bad. There's nothing a couple of quick oil changes wouldn't clean up. It definitely doesn't need any flushes or anything like that. I mean, generally speaking, in my opinion, a lot of them, they'll either won't work or you can do more harm than good with them, because you'll end up by dislodging any sludge and it'll get caught in the oil pickup, which will then starve your engine of oil, which is not ideal. So yeah, that is definitely not the desired outcome, is to end up doing more harm than good. So like I said, this thing hasn't had the best life, but it's never too late to try and sort these things, Spark plugs don't need to be super tight, so don't go reefing them. Just remember these coil plugs, they're that dual action, so just make sure the secondary latch is pushed in properly and it should all be good. Just having a quick squeeze, make sure there's no oil leaks, anything like that. Drive belt's actually looking pretty good. So yeah, there's no major issues with this, considering, which is kind of amazing. So I'm just going to check the brake pad wear as well. So it's definitely easier to pull a wheel off to do it. You can do it through a mirror. But let's see if we can have a look. Front pad looks good. And you see, nice and thick there, so no worries there with brakes. No worries for that one, but we'll check the rest and see what they look like. Same principle again. Notice this inner one was a little bit thinner than the outer. Generally that can mean that these slides are a bit sticky, so the other side's all good by looking pretty even. But this side, we might just pull these slides off and give them a bit of a grease.
Here we go!
It's just a 14mm bolt on the caliper, which normally should just be able to undo this bottom one. But I need to release the handbrake.
Hey, it moved!
Yeah, I did notice the handbrake coming off, Logan.
You're taking the brakes off. Oh, not the whole brake.
No, just lifting the caliper up, mate. Just a little tight for that socket in there. So this can't swing up easily because of the brake line here. So
you just cut it off.
No, so if you're changing out the rear pads on these, and these just basically slide out like this, you can see this one's a little bit thinner than the other. We reckon those they're not too bad. But
I'm shooting my light.
I feel okay, so it doesn't hurt to check these. But what we can do,
Oh, steaming.
Not steaming.
Oh, you need it. Is it hot?
No.
It's cold.
The wear's pretty close. So it looked actually worse than what it actually is from the outside. But it definitely doesn't hurt to check these things. So we'll put that brake caliper back on.
Oh, so
this inner brake pad looked a little thin. It was probably like half a mil difference really, but by the time I pulled them out, so not really that much of a concern. The slides are nice and free, so that's the main thing. It's just worth checking those either way. It doesn't take much. So we're going to throw the wheels back on. The torque for the wheel nuts is 88 to 107 Newton meters. Because these threads are dry, we'll go on the higher side, so I'll tighten them to about 100 Newton meters. And yeah, that's it. Right, so that's pretty much me, guys. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. And don't forget, it's never too late to give your car a service, even if it's been neglected like this one. So, cheers, take it easy.